Welcome, everybody, to the World of Ability Podcast Network. I am Emily Gomer, and a podcast engineer here, and I'm excited to bring you another episode of the World of Pets uh, with Debbie Hayes. And so you're gonna love this show since it's all about our furry friends. And so I am going to it's Animal House. So I'm gonna pass it over to Debbie and Dave to get us uh, started. So what are we talking about today, Debbie?
Okay, Emily, thank you. Today we're talking about safety for our pets. And that is the question of the day. What do you do to keep your pets safe? Or what do you do that you would like, or what you would like to do because of mistakes that you made? So I'm going to answer the question first. We're going in a little different order today. Um, but first, we do want our pets to feel safe. We want them to feel our unconditional love, just like they have unconditional love for us. We want them to live for a long time, but we want that life to be quality. And that is what we feel that we've found something that can facilitate that through the Coriolis versicolor mushroom. And we are going to share, of course, but we want the podcast to be more about discovering everything about pets. So we can laugh and cry, and we may do a little bit of each tonight.
We'll
But
probably do a lot of both tonight, actually. So, Deb, why don't you tell us how you had an incident with a pet?
okay, um, so we had two dogs that always were getting out. I This one house we lived in, we never could figure out how they got out of the backyard. Luckily, they never went to the major street. The subdivision had two really short entrances, like the length of one property. And then there was a circle and a couple side streets off the circle. But when they got out, they started running around that circle. And I mean, I'm not sure distance wise, I don't think we ever clocked it, but they could go around there twice before they ran out of steam and we could get them in the car.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, yeah, it was bad. So here we have these same two guys. Actually, I'm going backwards because they were younger when this occurred. They get out of our property, and the property was right across the street from the school where our kids went to elementary school.
Mhm.
So they would always go visit because, of course, all the kids made nice about him. I'm sure that my kids acted like it. I don't know, you guys. But the other kids, I'm sure, especially their own friends, made a big deal out of him being there, and they thought, oh, this is great. Finally, one day, the school had to call animal control and have him picked up. And
Oh
it wasn't
no.
because they did anything different. What, David?
I said, oh no.
Yeah. It wasn't because they did anything different. It was just the number of times that they'd done it. And the fact that we could not figure out a way to keep them safe because there was no yard around the property. And we would open the door, even knowing that they were going to try to get out. And they still snuck past us. So I guess that's my question. If anybody has any suggestions, now I'm lucky because this particular guy, I can open the door. He'll step out on the porch and greet whoever came to the door. I can raise the garage door and he still won't go anyplace. He'll come and get in the car. But it would be good if somebody has some suggestions about how they how they kept their dog if their dogs were runners,
Hmm.
how they stopped that. So that's my story of not being successful of keeping the dogs safe, but it wasn't because we love the dogs any less. Um, It was just circumstances.
And circumstances happen, oddly enough.
They do. How about your circumstances, David?
Oh, yeah. So I'm here to preach to everybody about how to take excellent care of their dogs because I've 100% failed. With little paint poo, he's behind me. He's in his bed, on my bed, under a blanket. Because I've been so blessed to have my friends Sydney and Alex and their kids, Ellie and um, oh, doggone it, what's his name, Ezra, with their wonderful pit bull Noelle. That's my girlfriend, by the way, and she is Peyton's best friend. So last Monday, Peyton's been going to work with me every day with only a little break, but for about uh, 4 or 5 years since his dad passed away.
I know
And
that he's gone. I mean, as long as I've known you,
yeah,
I know, like you said, except that little break that you were taking him.
yeah, yeah. There's a very short period of time that he hasn't been with me 24/7, and I'm grateful to have found some people trust that I trust as much as they trust me. And they trust me with their kids, I trust them with Peyton, and we're super good friends. And Sydney and Alex, thank you. You guys rule. I'm gonna force you to watch this later, by the way. And but just the backstory. I know I've told this story before, but he was born blind in one eye. He was um, uh, survived parvo. I'm trying to go in chronological order here. He was attacked by a husky. Didn't require too much work, but he sprained his back for the first time. It wasn't a full paralyzation, just a little bit floppy. Since then, he's been paralyzed 4 times, and sometimes it was just because he went down the stairs. By the way, he's a dachshund, medium sized. He's not a mini. He's not a full size. And that's a predisposed condition sometimes. But last Monday, because he goes to work with me all the time, and everybody's comfortable with him having him around all the time, uh, he snuck around my blind side because I'm blind in this eye, and he got bumped by the forklift, and it dislocated his hip and caused a few lacerations. So, what we didn't do, and this is my fault, is I didn't, put a rock against the door to the warehouse so that he could come out. And I also didn't have a leash on him either, because the whole situation could have been avoided. So that's my fault. However, being the good parent that I am, I was able to get him into the ER. They were able to relocate his hip. He's been under very strict activity and whatnot because of it. It's not an easy process when you rehab a dog, by the way. But Sydney and Alex have been amazing. Changing the wraps, taking him out to go potty, all that stuff while I'm at work, and even keeping him overnight so that I can sleep. Uh, and tonight's his first night back at home. You can see he's bouncing around in the bed, on my bed, because he still plays in place. He just doesn't jump around. So it's been a journey, and I just it kind of reminds me of watching my kid growing up and all that stuff. Um, Knee
I have
pads and
I
all
have a
that stuff.
question.
Were the okay? Go ahead.
Um, so just so the audience knows, Peyton, David used to do a podcast when I first knew him,
Hmm.
and usually at the beginning of the podcast, Peyton would sing,
Yep.
and that was a real highlight for everybody. But when I said, "Oh, can we have Peyton sing at the beginning of our podcast?" when we started doing this one, he said, "No, Peyton is deaf now." So, David, I
Correct.
was wondering if possibly he he couldn't hear the forklift. Is that? Do you think that's a possibility?
That is a very big possibility because it beeps when you're backing up. And it's not, don't get me wrong, it's not like a construction site forklift. This is, just a warehouse forklift for carpet and pallets, small pallets. And, the, the driver stopped immediately when, Peyton cried. And we just started the process. So the problem was, the warehouse didn't have enough light, uh, honestly, because Peyton being white and brown, and he was wearing a green and yellow sweater that day, didn't exactly stand out from the concrete in the low light. So it's not that big of a deal. But the fact that it happened, it could have been prevented, and that's where I come in. And I'd like to say, if you have a special needs dog, make sure they're on a leash. Peyton's been really good about staying in my yard. As far as the front yard goes, without a fence, he knows to stop, at the sidewalk, and then he turns around and comes back, that kind of stuff. Um, but make sure that they're ultra aware of their surroundings when you do that kind of stuff, because um, if they're not aware and you're not aware, something bad can go on. Absolutely wrong. And it
Yeah.
did. And so, but he's healing up. He's in super good spirits. He played for at least, let's see, I got off at noon, got to him at 12:30, and this is his first break.
Oh,
So we
that,
played hard. We fed him well. And once we're done here, he's gonna go outside, go potty, and we're gonna go to bed.
I know. I mean, I know that it was very hard on you because all pet parents can, I'm sure, agree that that it is difficult when you have a pet that's having issues.
Yeah, and well, and
Um,
he's 15 years old, and I've had him since the day he was born. So when the vet called me after they relocated his hip and said, it popped out once, we popped it back in. They gave, I had to pay the maximum amount. They gave me two quotes. I had to pay the full maximum
oh,
amount. But
ouch.
it was an ouch, but he's worth it. I mean, how many of you would have a child? They turn 15. Suddenly they can't use one of their legs, and you'd be like, "All right, well, it's done. We'll just take you out back and shoot you." Nobody does that. And she said, and the doctor literally told me, if he doesn't recover from this fully, you should euthanize him. I'm like, no, I'm not going to euthanize him. It's like
Oh,
he's got too much life left in it. His blood his red blood cell counts 98%.
wow.
98. 98.
Why
Oh,
do you think
what?
that is, David?
I'm sorry. Could you repeat that question?
I said, why do you think that is?
I know exactly why that is. It's because his immune system is off the charts because of the versicolor Coriolis mushroom, or
Yes.
Coriolis versicolor mushroom. However you want to put it. You can just Google either word and you're going to come to the solution. By the way, we get it the best through Debbie, through myself, and every dog that I have given snacks to. Absolutely love them. In fact, if Peyton just doesn't have his teeth in motion that day because he's missing most of them, I dip him in water and I soak him a little bit, and then I give them to him, and he loves them. And if he decides that he doesn't want to eat them, I eat them because they're made out of human grade food. I do. It's
That
not
is
even a
true.
joke. I eat the most those
Hmm.
thingies.
Yep.
You'll have to see Deb's website below, by the way. Maybe she'll send some of them, some of you guys my way. Just saying.
Yeah, that's it is an unbelievable product.
It's unreal.
Hmm.
And I showed immense physical progress when I started on the human grade supplements and stuff like that. I'm gonna have to change my order over to the standard because they still haven't sent me my plus
Oh,
package. So, and I don't know, maybe somebody just took it out of the mailbox, but because
Yeah.
I do have a standard mailbox, that might be what happened. But yeah, you can't get enough of this stuff, guys. I mean, there's so many things that we can help you for your dog's health, for, I mean, whether it's your daily food, your cat, your horses, all kinds of stuff. Just get in touch with us because Deb for sure knows all the answers, and everything that she has helped me develop has increased my health, my dog's health, and everything else. So, Deb, round it up. Bring them all
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
We're fishing. We're
Thank
fishing.
you. Thank you for the compliments. And one thing, that one of the pill bottles for humans is is a capsule. So if you have an animal that's unusual, like a tortoise or a bird or whatever, that you think is needs a little immune boost, then you can actually the um, open up the capsule and figure out something that they like, something you can mix it with, or um, just like on the end of your finger with maybe, I don't know, a little peanut butter if they like it. And so you can get it in them that way. I actually have a customer um, who bought some for her rats. She has pet rats, and she wanted them to be healthy and live a long time. So she wanted to increase their immune system. And that's what it does. It increases the immune system so that the body can heal itself. And it's just worked very well. There are so many different testimonials. So,
Yeah,
and that's,
and how
go ahead.
much has this been researched and documented?
There's over 400 studies that have been done, and that's just about the Coriolis versicolor mushroom.
Is that all? Did they do that many over some of the recent forced medications?
Not that I know of.
Me either. Me
Yeah,
either. So
yeah.
I'm just saying, look, natural is the way to go, folks. And when you have somebody that has a patented, well, I don't know if it's patented. It's a what's the word they use? Where it's like verified. It's they're the only ones that use it.
Oh, yeah, patented.
So yeah, it's a process, and they got it from where? I believe Japan.
Yes, yes. It's actually documented, the first documented record of its use was in the 1300s in the Ming Dynasty in China. And they used it at that point. That the documentation was for human use, and they used it for depression. But that sort of surprises me because I picture the I, I mean, God obviously put this mushroom plant, on the earth, and I picture people looking at animals and the animals using it, and maybe an ant, maybe a horse is lame, and they notice that it seems to be gravitating to this particular mushroom, and then they go, oh, that horse isn't lame anymore. So I don't know, but it was the first documented use. That doesn't mean that was the first use. It just means that it was the first time that anybody wrote about it.
Certainly,
So
certainly, and it's been written about. And I mean, all those 400 studies, there's a very specific way to process it, and that's proprietary. That's actually the word that I was going for, and I
oh,
finally
okay.
remembered it.
Yep.
It's a proprietary process, and it's like nothing you'll ever see because it's not a 1 or 2 or 3 month wait to see the results. It happens fast, and you can't take too much of it. So if you need to see results with your immune system immediately, take 3, 4, 5 pills a day, you're not going to overdose on it.
That's
And it's
correct.
only going to help you. And it's only going to help your cat or your dog or your horse.
Yeah, exactly. Very good. Well, thank you, David, for sharing. I, from the text messages I got while Peyton was being diagnosed and so forth, I I'm amazed that you're able to tell the story with with so much composure,
Yeah, well,
because you were, I mean, I didn't even call you because to see what was going on. Well, you did say that, don't call me, my phone's blowing up. And so I didn't, as badly as I wanted to know what was happening.
yeah, well, I can tell you he was in very good care. They were very thorough. They wanted to test his blood first and all of his organs to make sure that he would be able to go under if they needed to put him under. So that was stage one. That was $10,045. Then they're like, all right, so we're gonna do the X-rays and find out what's actually going on because his blood work's near perfect. Perfect. All right. So now we're up to 1,400, and then they're like, sign here because it could go up to 1,800. I'm like, just get it done. Okay. Find out what's up with my dog. Fix him if you can. How long do you need? Call me when he's done. And when she called me, she's like, well, his hip was dislocated. We put it back twice because I guess they didn't wrap it right the first time while he was coming out. It popped out and they had to do it again. So that's why I got charged the extra amount. But the the end result is I still have my dog alive, and this isn't my first time having to rehab him to walk. So I got wheels on the way. By the way, this time because
Ah,
he is older, so I got some wheels. We'll show him in Hot Wheels probably in about 2 weeks. I think when they'll be here. But we start rehab today. Is the day they said you can take him out of the sling, you can start walking him around. I've had to hold him up to go potty, all that stuff. It's what parents do when their kids get hurt, right?
right.
So, but if you guys feel any urge, if you see this podcast and want to donate, it's Peyton, Peyton, space POO, need your help, exclamation mark on, uh, uh, did I say Gibson Go or, GoFundMe? Sorry, goodness gracious. GoFundMe. You can find it there. A dollar helps anything, for real. I'm super blessed. People have already blessed me from work. Some of my local friends, some of my prayer time friends, like Debbie. You guys are just amazing. If nothing else, just share the link. That's all I ask. Because if it gets shared 2,000 times and 2,000 people donate a dollar, that will cover anything that's coming up in the future. And I'm just super grateful for it. So
Great.
that's where I'm going to leave off at this point. Deb, tell them where they can get a
Yeah.
hold of you.
Yes. It's http colon backslash backslash um, Deb's Pets, DEBSPETS.com. And love to give you some more information about the mushrooms, or you can go back to a previous podcast. I believe it was the second one of the little laundry list. Everything's on there. The first couple of podcasts, they just aren't packaged together. And there you go. Thank you, Emily. So, yes, would love that. And I do want to put in a plug for the World of Ability channel, that network that supports us in this endeavor. They do a number of podcasts. Plus, the people that run it are very active with Project diehard.org, which is a um, which is an organization. They have property. They have a building on there, so they can do daytime events, and they are looking toward having housing, so that the so that veterans who need it can come and be there for up to a year.
I
But they do,
totally
I
just
found
wrote
out,
that
have a
down.
pond. So if you live if you live in that Kentucky, Illinois, Indiana area, then you can go if a veteran needs some time to themselves, and they can go and throw a fishing rod in and relax in that respect.
Nice.
Yep. So please think about that. Again, if you're in that area, they always appreciate volunteers because that cuts back on the amount of money that they have to spend, on whatever is going on. So, Emily, can you close us out, please?
Yeah, thank you for joining everybody, and we will see you next week.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. So, what we were going to do today, we had to delay for a week. A friend of the show is going to bring his dog, who is going to be a service dog. So next week we're going to look at how well or not well behaved Cobb is, and then April, May, at the end of June when he gets out of prison, as his owner says, because he has to go for 2 months to be trained as a service dog, and then at that point we'll do a podcast of him again, featured, so that we can see how well he's doing after he's trained. So please join us for that. And sorry, Emily, I asked you to close out and then I butted in after.
No worries.
So,
So thank you, everybody. We will see you next week.
all right. Thank you.
God bless y'all.